Hi everyone, it's Tony from Play Ball Lineup again. Continuing on with our tutorial, we just got done choosing the local rules. And I want to point something out here. Some of we have an this app works on iPad, it also works on iPhone. There are some differences. Obviously the iPhone um, screen is a little smaller, but the one thing that we know is a kind of a known bug, if you will. Right here you can see that I have, the first, the third, fourth, sixth, and seventh local rules turned on. Now when I leave the screen, I got to go to positions. That's what we're going to do next. But if I go back, they're still all the same. What I find with on an iPhone, and it could depend on which version you're on. Like I have an iPhone 5, 5C, and I'm running iOS 9.3 of this video. My all players should play at least one inning in the outfield switches off. There's a bug in there. And again, it may or may not do it for you. It may or may not do it for you if you change some of the settings. But the settings that I like to use, I notice that it turns off. So unfortunately, it's a little bug that we're aware of and we're working on an update. So I'll just point that out to you that it could be the reason why some of your players, even though you're specifying them to play in the outfield, they're not, playing their one inning, and you might need to manually change that. So, unfortunately, rather than have you go crazy, I point that out to you because it's frustrating for me too. So, that being said, let's move along. So we've entered our game information, entered our team information, entered our local rules, and now we're going to go to positions. So here's the enter position preferences screen. And like I said, when we first came out with the app, a lot of the feedback that we got is that the app did not do as good a job as it could playing the players in the positions that they were specified. So we went back and tightened up our logic, and now I'll say job one of the app is if you specify a player to play a position, the app will most likely play that player in that position. Now let me preference that. So it's a 6 inning game, and let's just say in our example here, we've got Cal. We want him to play in 6 different positions. The app may or may not get Cal in all 6 of those positions. The app may get Cal in 5 or 4, probably in that range, 5 or 4, but it's not going to play Cal at second base. It's not going to play Cal at center field if you didn't specify them. So that's the difference. So you're only going to get the players playing where you specify. If you hit the any, well then Cal could end up anywhere. Even though you've specified him in those other positions, he could end up in any particular position. So just want to explain that to you up front. So a couple things going on this screen. First of all, you're going to see a strategy mode, competitive play, or you're going to have instructional play. Let me back up here first. We keep getting that warning. So in every lineup, there's what we're calling a total number of lineup innings. So in our scenario, we're working on a 6 inning game with 9 positions. So that's 54 total lineup innings, right? It's just straight math. There's 54 slots in our lineup that we need to fill. Our team has 12 players, and right now you can see the far column over. It says number innings playing, and it's just a default of 6. So if all 12 players played 6 innings, that's 72 innings. So that's too many. So we have to, as a start, we have to get total lineup innings to equal total player innings. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can tap on the number here, and you can manually adjust all of them down, or you can click on the icon in the upper right hand corner and you can see that this will clear all your position preferences, or it will also help you quickly set all players to 5 innings. So we know we wanted everybody to sit out. So we're going to click 5 and see what happens. So you can see we do that, and we still have to subtract another 6 innings from the lineup. The other thing that we could do is we could go back and click the 4, and now we have to add 6. So it doesn't really matter. It's whichever way you want to you want to go. Now, let's just say we'll subtract. Now, since I made up this team, I need to go back and, because this is the way you would do it in real life, right? I would go back and I'd say Frank, D, Mike, Joe, Ken, Al, and Bill. So what I'm doing here, most likely, right, is I want to play my better players. And again, it depends. Maybe you're just going to rotate the guys. It's not a big deal. But I would want my better players to play more. Everybody's sitting out, right? And all the parents will see that even the better players, everybody is sitting out. But again, I want to have a competitive lineup. So I'm going to, this is just me. You can do it however you want. And again, it's set up. If you had 10 positions with 12 players, then that works out. Everybody just sits out one inning, right? But in our example, we only have 9. So here you can see that I reduced the playing time for 6 players, and now my numbers match. So now when I go to strategy mode, I don't get the warning anymore, which is fine. It's just telling you to check it. But if I choose instructional play, this is going to kind of gray out all the balls. I'm not going to be able to highlight any of the positional balls, and it's going to show that everybody is selected as any. So again, think T-ball, think anybody can play anywhere. We don't keep score. This is just a quick way of doing that. And even when I coached T-ball, I found myself using competitive play more, only because it gave me some flexibility. I still checked any for a lot of the players, but I specified who I wanted to play pitcher, first base, and again, I was doing the 2 pitchers. So again, I wanted to make sure that all of the players got to play one of those positions in a game, and so the only way for me to do that was use competitive. So again, the word competitive can be a little misleading, but basically it translates into I can specify who I want to play where. Now, the other thing that you can do here is you can specify pitchers and catchers by inning, right? So right now you can see our entire team here. But what we're going to do, and I may need to try and figure this out here, is if I want Al, Bill, let me try. If I want Cal, Dave, and Ed to pitch, right? And then I want, it doesn't really matter, 5 or 4. I'm going to pick these 3 guys to catch. When I go back to specify pitchers and catchers, I only see the players that I highlighted. Now I know in my local rules, I picked, I didn't want players to play the position for 2 consecutive positions in a game, and I'm gonna knowingly say, all right, well, my pitchers, I'm gonna have Cal pitch the first 2 innings, Dave, and then Ed, and then I'm gonna have my catchers kind of the same thing, right? And I'm just filling this in here. Now you can go back to the position screen, and you can highlight 6 pitchers, 5 pitchers, 5 catchers, 6 catchers, 1 catcher, however you want. If you highlight 1 catcher, when it comes time to load the app, make the lineup, the app's going to play that person at catcher the entire game, assuming they're not sitting out an inning and assuming you don't have anybody selected as an any, right? Because then the app could put that person at catcher. So a little background on how the app creates a lineup. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to look at pitchers and catchers, and it's going to see if you've specified any pitchers and catchers. And if you have, it's going to hard code those players to those positions. That's what it's going to do first. So your pitchers and catchers are set. The next thing that it's going to do is it's going to set your bench. So it's going to look at these numbers way over here, and it's going to use your fielder skill level in order to set your bench. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to try to use a weighted average approach to setting your bench. So it's going to try and sit out a 5 with a 1, a 4 with a 2, and a 3 with a 3, kind of to average everything out as a 3 across all innings, right? Generally, you might see 5s sitting out earlier in the game, but you could see them sitting out later in the game depending on other positions that they're playing. You know, if they're pitching, if you have a 5 pitching the first 2 innings, then catching the next 2 innings, then and they have to sit out, that only leaves the 5th and the 6th inning that they're going to have to sit out. And again, you can manually tweak everything, but that's how the app approaches setting the bench. So you have pitchers and catchers, and then your bench set. And then what the app will do is, basically how the positions are lined up across, it'll start to fill all these positions in order. It'll do, just like baseball scoring, right? First base is 3, second base is 4, third base is 5, shortstop 6, left field 7, center field 8, right field 9. And if you had left center in there, right center, I think it would go left center, then right field, right? Right field would always be last. So the way that the app works when it's selecting people, and I'm going to pause this and sort of fill this in, and we'll come back because this is getting a little long here. So bear with me. Let me fill in my positions, and then I'll come back and explain a little bit more.